All right, welcome to the Interstate of Music podcast. Today I've got somebody that does a little something with round metal things. I think they're called cymbals. I want to welcome to the show today Andrew Tamulynas. He is the brand manager for Zildjian Cymbals and Drumsticks. Welcome to the Interstate of Music podcast, Andrew.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. It's awesome to be here.
Well, I mean, even if it's not awesome, I'm glad you said that. But so I don't want to start where you're at right now because I just kind of gave you your title. I'd like to back it up way back. What have you always been a drummer or loving of the percussion? I see a guitar behind you. Like, what is your musical background and what kind of got you in to that passion and love of music?
Yeah. Well, I think, probably like a lot of people, the first thing I wanted to do was play guitar. So definitely had a guitar as a kid, always kind of liked it, never particularly very good at it. And then, school band comes around and, oh, those guys are hitting things. That looks like a lot more fun. So gravitated towards the drums for sure pretty early on. Always been a drummer all through, high school, college. Briefly went to college for music education and then kind of switched over to communications and film studies. But just drums have always been a part of my life, for fun, playing with friends, that kind of thing.
And you kind of talked about it. I mean, obviously percussion, it can go a lot of different directions. You can be part of the jazz band at school. You can be part of the marching band. You can be part of, all the different styles and different groups that kind of break off of percussion because there's so much. If there's one thing about drums is it does kind of play into a lot of categories of music within the education world. Where did you kind of find yourself fitting into and what did you kind of really grow into kind of that high school, college side of things? Because if you were going to get into music education, like how many different aspects of it were you participating in?
Yeah, so my high school was fairly small, and so didn't have a huge percussion department. Not a lot of people back in the back of the band room. So really kind of had to be the go-to person for a lot of stuff. But I definitely gravitated towards drum set. And I think the music education thing for me was just I knew that I wanted music to stay a part of my life when I left high school, but I didn't really know what that meant. Like I didn't really know what was available. And just sort of as a knee-jerk reaction, like, well, I see this music teacher in front of me, every day, a week.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to be a music teacher. But really, it was just wanting to keep music as a part of my life, and I was always a drum set guy. So I played in a lot of bands, a lot of stuff like that. And I think, going into college at the time, as stupid as it sounds, you buy all these cymbals and drumsticks and drum heads and all this stuff, but you never think about the brands and that these are actually
Right.
companies that people work for.
Right.
So I started to become aware of, Vic Firth comes out to UMass and films a
Yeah.
drumline feature, and I'm in the drumline and I see a guy with a camera and I think, okay, maybe there's another angle
Sure.
of music that I should be exploring.
So when you were doing drumline, what were you actually playing?
My first year was in the Pit, which was awesome.
Okay.
We did the Who's Tommy, which was just super epic halftime show, like geeking out. It was great. And then sophomore, junior, senior, I was in the bass line.
That's unbelievable. So did you go to a bigger school or smaller?
For college? University of Massachusetts, Amherst.
Oh, you missed. Okay, fantastic. So at what stage, you talk about switching out of, kind of the music direction. At what point did you start to say, okay, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna start kind of focusing on a career path, and what did that look like for you? You kind of mentioned communications, that kind of thing. What did that look like, and what was that path, and how did you try to keep music in your life? Was it you were in a band, what kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I switched my major to communications and film studies, and I just really, I had a video camera, I had a still camera, and I was going to every show I could possibly go to. I was shooting for the regional paper out in Springfield, Massachusetts. I was shooting for the school paper, and just trying to, get into concerts and kind of cut my teeth on concert photography and all that kind of stuff. And
At
like I
minimum, you
said,
got backstage passes, right?
yeah, that was not too bad. It was
That's the
just like
angle.
exposure to that whole world that I just had not been aware of up until that point, and really just really hooked me, to be honest. And back to the drumline thing, there Vic Firth did come out every year and do like a big they did a big college feature where they would hop around to different college drum lines
Okay.
and do film their show. So every year, like clockwork, we would see the Vic Firth guys come with the video cameras, and so that kind of became my in for Vic Firth. um, sent emails, made calls, just really
Yep.
said, hey, when I graduate, would love to help out. Paid, unpaid, whatever you got,
Right.
hand me a camera. I would love to shoot drummers. I would love to do this kind of stuff. And that kind of was my foot in the door, that connection with that team through UMass.
That's awesome. And what so how long did you do that? And what did those projects look like? Was it always going and kind of following, the drumstick side of life and just going out there and getting those I mean, was it all live or was there any like kind of set photography, product video, or was it all kind of go out there on site and really get that live momentum? Like what was kind of that side of it for you?
In college, it was a lot of just going with the flow, doing live stuff, shooting concerts, things like that. When, in the summertime would hit, I didn't march drum corps, but I had some friends who did, and I would just for the heck of it, just to get some photos in my portfolio and figure out, how all that stuff worked. I would just go out to the training camps and stick around for a day or two
Sure.
and try to take shots of the drum line and try to take some, lifestyle type product shots in the moment and send them off to the companies, and just kind of getting my feet wet in that whole world. And then when I actually started at Vic, it was really a lot of the same stuff. If a band would come through Boston, we would go down to the club, and we'd have a shot list. It's like, here's the sticks they use. We want to get an
Sure.
interview where they talk about why they like this drumstick. And so really kind of a lot of the same stuff, but in the more official capacity.
And how much of that footage do you still actually have? Do you have any like really cool footage that you still own that was kind of behind the scenes, backstage, blooper shit with some decent names out there that you want to kind of tell me about?
I have some good photos still from Green Day's American Idiot tour at the Mullen Center at UMass. I had got some really good photos of that I had hung up on my wall for a while, because I frankly just couldn't even believe I got the photo. And I think a lot of it is like
Totally.
when you
That's
finally get
fantastic.
into a place that has good lighting, and you're like, oh my God, this is a good photo.
It's awesome.
So that was part of it. Yeah.
And did you were you shooting any video on that type of thing, or was when you went and shot, was it all like I'm doing still photography, I'm doing video for this, that kind of thing? It was always so on that it was just click, 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 get as many damn pictures as you can because you're hoping one shows up.
Exactly. Yeah. They give you, I think, two songs, and then they kick all the photographers out of the pit. So it was just like, take as many shots as you can, just look at them all later and figure out what you got and what you didn't get. The video stuff was usually dedicated shoot, like we're going to get video. And some of that older stuff is actually still, on the Vic Firth YouTube channel. When I started, gentleman by the name of Mark Wessels, who a lot of people will know in the education circles. He did everything for the Vic Firth website. He was shooting all the video, editing all the video, and it was growing and growing. And so he kind of needed some help. And some of those earlier videos on the YouTube channel, I still go back and watch them. The things that he edited or I edited or we
Right.
worked on together. It's YouTube is great. There's a log of everything, for better or worse.
Yeah, depending on your age. I mean, I'm almost at that age where like I mean, I am at that age. I'm 53, so I go back and I'm like, "Oh shit, really? There isn't that much when I was a kid on there, except big events and big stuff." I'm like, I really YouTube for me kind of just starts at a certain decade and kind of moves on, and I kind of miss some of it. So I just have to remember everything, so that's all right. Some stuff I remember, some stuff I don't because it's probably better I don't. So as you kind of progress through it, when did you start to feel as though you were developing into a career path? Like, I mean, where it felt like this is what you wanted to do. This could pay the bills. this could pay rent. Like, at what point did it kind of click into that for you?
Um, Honestly, I feel like the answer is right away. Like at Vic
Well, yeah, if
Firth.
you have 7 roommates, you can pay rent with not a lot of money, right?
Yeah, exactly right. When I started at Vic, it was, you know, it's such a super small team, and really
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't, people would pull up to the building and be convinced they were in the wrong place. Like, this can't possibly be Vic Firth.
sure.
It's just
Yeah,
very small operation, smaller than people realize. Not a lot of people. And so right away, you'd see people who have been here for their whole careers. So, and it
yeah,
was just, it was a family. So I right away had a feeling that, hey, as long as I want to do this, I could do this.
right,
Um, and the way digital media was growing, is growing, continues to grow. Yeah, I'd say right from the jump, I knew that I could, be in this industry for a long time if I wanted to, with Vic, which was a great opportunity.
right,
And also because the company was so small, everybody really kind of had a handle on everything. And there were
sure.
like, this is my job, that's your job. We all had suggestions for products. We all tested things and gave feedback on what worked and what didn't. And it was more than just shooting photos or managing the website or answering phone calls or taking orders, whatever your job was. So yeah, super small, scrappy team, and really made me feel like, yeah, this is, you could do this for a long time. There could be a career here.
And so through this time, were you playing in bands? Were you as a drummer? Did you kind of turn that into something that you were doing as, for side money? But did you ever think that was going to turn into something?
I think when I was younger, like right out of college, there was always that glimmer of hope, like, yeah, man, we're all gonna quit our jobs one day, and it's just all it takes is one song.
I think
That
I can get
that
free
song never
drumsticks,
came.
so that helps, right?
I know a guy. I
Yeah,
know a guy
right.
at Vic Firth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's always that, hey, wouldn't that be nice? But I think it was always just reality check, like, hey, this is fun. Every couple of weekends, we'll go out around Boston, or hey, maybe we drive all the way down to New York and play a show. Like, that was a big deal. It was
right,
never big, but it was always fun.
right. And are you doing any playing now with bands or sitting in on, for recordings or anything? What's your personal playing lifestyle now?
Yeah, it's been a weird year or two.
Yep.
And
Not
I'm
doing
sure I'm not
Haven't
the
done
only
shit for about a
one.
year, right? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, what my friends and I, who had been in a band previously, we just kind of, really, every week we get together and play just for fun, pretty much, and then the
Yep.
occasional gig. We've really had to try to make that work remotely, and so, recording drum tracks here and sending it off to the guitar player, and they throw something on it, and over the course of a couple of months, we have a new song, and none of us had played any of it, one note of it together in the same
Right.
room. So new ways of being creative, but yeah, not playing really out much.
Right. So tell me a little bit, about Zildjian as far as just the history of the company and what that's meant to you to be a part of that, that business and the quality that goes into it and just, some of the innovation that's come through the years that you've been there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just like, I constantly slap myself and realize, like, this is a company that's turning 400 years old. This is a
It's
company that's
that's
turning
that's
400
that's what
years
blows my
old.
mind. It blows my mind that that's even possible. It's like
Yeah.
I look back and I'm terrible at history and I'm like, man, that's like dinosaurs, right? I mean, dinosaurs were alive 400 years ago. I didn't know somebody needed, a set of cymbals. It's so long to be a company in any format, right? So number one, obviously, there's been a little bit of innovation in 400 years, but tell me what kind of it has inspired you through that side of things as far as what they constantly do. They certainly have not sat back and said, "We're done. We've done it all. We're just going to keep on making these exact same symbols and sticks and all the rest of it." I mean, they're constantly innovating, and that is unique for a company that's been around as long as they have.
Yeah. I mean, constantly innovating is exactly the right way to say it. And I mean, just before we got on this podcast, I'm, on the business side of things, I'm looking through our roadmap, and we just, it's a great problem to have. We have more like ideas, fully developed ideas than we have time to launch. It's like, well, we
Sure.
can't slot this many things in next year. So when are we going to do this? I mean, it's just the folks who work on our innovation team, they just love what they do. And it's so
Yeah.
obvious because they're cranking out, hey, I had this new idea. Like, oh, I walked past a tray of these blanks that I didn't know, what we were going to do with them. And then I saw someone lathing one of these over there. And all of a sudden I put two and two together. And what if we did this? It's just like people are constantly thinking about what comes next, which is like, for a company that's 400 years old, it'd be really easy to not do that. Like, it'd be
Right.
really easy to say, hey, man, we've got A Zildjian, we've got A Custom, we've got K, we're good. I
Right.
mean, that's just
Coca-Cola
not the
has been the
attitude.
same recipe forever, and all they seem to do is like they bring something out and it just doesn't do as well as Coca-Cola. And but they throw something out there, it's bad. Zildjian keeps on coming out with something that is relevant and wanted and necessary in how music is changing and being a part of that, the genres as they've evolved. And for the musician and the drummer, Zildjian keeps on nailing it, like time and time and time again.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it is the history. Like
Yeah.
we've made a lot of cymbals. We know what works, what doesn't. We've failed at things that then we come back to 5 years later and go, hey, you know what? I think I know why that didn't work out so well, and I think I want to adjust something, and let's try this. We've
Or
got a
maybe even a
huge
little
artist
ahead of your
roster.
time. With that much innovation, sometimes you're just a little ahead of when the right time to launch it is.
K Custom Special Dry is a perfect example of
Yeah.
a product that came out. We thought like, this is really cool. It didn't quite catch on. We discontinued it, and then all of a sudden, those sounds they started to pop. So
Right. Yep.
we didn't put it out exactly the way it was. Those cymbals became thinner, the profiles got lower, so you get a little bit of a lower pitch from them. We adjusted them, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that hits, and maybe it's not quite the time yet, and then we come back to it, and it's just the history, and that's the thing about the Zildjian family. They are really, really invested in
Yeah.
their personal history, the history of the family, but also the history of the company. And we have a log of everything we've ever tried, why it worked, why it didn't work, and we go back to stuff all the time.
I love
For
that.
sure.
And so where, as it sits right now, for the people that are kind of listening, and where do you guys do most of your innovation, design, manufacturing, all of that? Where is that all kind of being handled right now?
It's 100% in Norwell, Massachusetts. So that's our headquarters, where we've been since the 70s, I believe. Moved from Quincy down into Norwell, and that's where our foundry is. We're smelting the metal there, creating the blanks, rolling, tempering, cupping, like making the cymbal soup to nuts. All of our design is there. All of our manufacture is there. Yeah, it's everything.
And when you talk about having that all in one place there, that's where you get that consistency, right? And that quality of consistency. You hear about drummers going into stores and wanting to hit every single cymbal that they're thinking about buying so that they find the exact one that they want out of five, and they're like, yep, this is the one. Now it seems like there's so much more of a consistency across all of your cymbals that's not really how it's done like it used to be done, is it?
Yeah, that's a really great point. We've got the same folks out there, standing at the same lathes on first shift and standing at the same lathes on second shift. They're lathing a K-Suite crash, weighing it out. They know what the spec should be. We've got the same folks standing in the back in the quality department that's hitting the cymbal before it goes out to printing. So there's a tight spec that we stick to, and it's definitely gotten tighter over time and more consistent over time because technology has gotten better and
Right.
safer too. Like, these machines are now a lot safer to run than they were 20, 30, 40, 50, 300 years ago.
Right.
Um, but there is something to be said about inconsistency too, and that's some of the things that we look into with some of even the new products we're working on now. Of like, there are drummers out there who want to stand in front of a wall and say, "Here are 6 20-inch rides. I can't pick one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get two
Yeah.
because I like this quality about this one, and this one's got a little bit of a flange at the edge, and I really
Yeah.
kind of
Sure.
like how that trashes out the sound, and I want them both."
Yeah.
So it's, again, that's something, we're
It's
always
all that
changing, we're always
yeah, it's all
evolving.
that personal preference that you've got, that it just feels as though you're constantly catering to the musician and being the musicians that you are, knowing what, a variety of personalities are out there, and trying to cater to the way they do that. And I think that that's also part of, it's not just about the cymbal and the sticks. It's about understanding the musicians and what they're looking for, and kind of keeping your, ears open to what they have to say about it.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And the drummers, the customers, the people who are buying cymbals, going to the retailer, talking to folks like you. We talk to you, you tell us what you're hearing, but artists too. Like, we have a
Yes.
huge artist roster, and they're playing with the latest pop artist on the radio who is doing something wildly different, and suddenly they need a different cymbal than they've ever needed before. Like, that's valuable information, and we have a lot of artists who help us innovate. Like, it's not just internal innovation, it's that extended family of artist relations for sure is huge.
That's awesome. And so if you were to kind of pinpoint what you think is next for Zildjian, some of the things that you guys have been talking about. No trade secrets here. I'm not looking to kind of, make you think that we're just talking just us. But what's kind of next that you think is trending? Some of the unique things people are doing on their own to cymbals to try to create a sound that you're like, let's actually turn this into something. What are some of those things you think is going to stick, and is going to be around long enough to actually produce something for?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the giant umbrella of like personalization, and not like I want to have my name on the symbol, but just I
Right.
want my symbol to not necessarily be like anybody else's, like something that's a little bit unique and a little bit personal. And one of the things we're coming out with, just really, we're going to announce it at the beginning of October, so we're just a couple weeks away now. The raw crashes, which we tested in our concept shop on Zildjian.com, and then made some adjustments to based on what
Dude,
drummers
we
thought
we
of
have
them.
we have one in our office. We actually have one.
Yeah.
It is sweet. I asked that question, and I wasn't even trying to lead to that. But it's exactly what you're talking about, that personalization, because there's a little bit of a randomness to that.
Oh,
It's cool.
there's a huge amount of randomness. Like, no lie to say that no two of them, there's a large bell version and a small bell version. If you
Yeah.
buy the large bell, there's not going to be another one on earth that sounds exactly like it. There's just
Well,
too many
I've got one
variables.
of the large ones that there's not going to be another one on Earth, and it's sitting in Jake Miller's office right now, and he's just waiting to smash on it. So I love that part of what you guys are doing. I love that you're putting yourself out there that way, because that's, I don't want to say it's risky, but it's so cool, because it is so not what you'd expect, or when you look at it, you're like, that's cool. Like, that's different. I don't even have to hit it to know that that's cool, and it's going to give a sound that's going to be unique for a song, for a specific time in a show. Like, there's accent pieces to everything in life. Whether it's on your car, whether it's at your house, whether it's, what you put in your Bloody Mary, there's that one thing. And that, I swear, that symbol's going to be like, that's that special little hot sauce that you put in your Bloody Mary, and somebody's going to hit it, and you're going to be like, damn, what was that? That is cool. And it's going to be tough for people to put their finger on it. And that's what's cool about it. I love that.
It's all of that for sound, but also like everything you just said about aesthetics too. Like,
Yes,
people
it's
want
so,
something on their kit that's like, that just jumps out and looks awesome. Like, what the hell is he
yeah,
playing or she
right,
playing? Like, I gotta have that.
right. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time today and being part of the show, and all the support that Zildjian gives, not just to Interstate Music, but to musicians all over the world. I mean, you are um, 400 years old, and you've stayed the test of time because of the innovation, because of who you are as people, and caring about musicians. And we certainly appreciate that because it's a musician's first world out there. I like to say we're just kind of we're living in it and helping them, make their next steps. And I think it's cool that you guys are kind of in that same mindset. And I can't think. It's been great to get to know you a little bit better. And thanks for being part of the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. It's a pleasure, and thanks for everything you all do. It's huge for us, obviously. So thank you very much.
That's awesome, Andrew. All right, this is the Interstate of Music podcast. And hey, pay attention to Zildjian. They got some cool stuff coming, as always. I know that might sound a little redundant, but pay attention to them because there's some things that you wouldn't have expected that are about ready to hit. Thanks so much, Andrew.
All right, thanks.